All right, all right. Okay, yes, all right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining in today. I mean, it's really a pleasure to have you all in. As you know, this is the Ray Summit, and just before um, we start off, just to introduce us to what the Ray Summit is. The Ray Summit, is a vision that came to me um, just, can I say, randomly, even though, yeah, I was at the moment of expecting something, but I never knew it would even be a summit or something like this. I just thought probably the next level of maybe my career or launching something else or just doing something else, not really hosting a summit like this. Then it came in that night, and as I think through it, the name the name came in, and then I started drafting. The website. Probably a lot of us that would have seen the website. The website, I drafted a lot of the content that same night. Sorry, I hope my voice is not echoing. Okay, just hold on. Okay, yeah. So that very night, I got about the race summit, and I started drafting out things around it. And in 1 week, I put it together. And yes, that is it. As we see, the race summit 1.0. This is okay. Is this still echoing? I can see my voice. Is this still echoing,
No, 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 no,
please?
no. It's okay. It's okay. No echoing anymore. It's okay.
Okay, great, great. All right. So the race summit, for this year, the starting year is forged into 2025. Mr. Jimitewe will be coming in very shortly, but just before he starts speaking, to give you a convenient speech of how this of what to expect at the RAEY Summit this year, um, for everyone attending, wherever level of influence you are, whether you are just trying to build something, or you have already started building something, or you are already even at the level of Mr. Jimmy Tewe, or wherever level you are, the RAEY Summit 1.0 brings you into that consciousness of the fact that you have to transform your reflections into actions. And to start with, and to tell you, I would say the new year, I would, say this. Let's first try to define what the new year is not. I'm glad to tell you that the new year is nothing. The new year is nothing. The new year has nothing for you within it. I know this will be sounding, somehow in some people's mind, but just hold on. I mean, Mr. Jimmy will still speak a lot, about some of the things I say and furthermore. So just calm down. The new year has nothing for you. The new year has no blessing for you. The new year has no say about whatever you will do or whatever you will become. Now, this is what the new year is. The new year is just a plain sheet that offers you a new, I would say, chapter, sort of. When you are reading maybe the Holy Book, Bible, or even Quran, or whatsoever book, even handwritten books, or a digital copy, you would flip to different pages. That is what the new year is. That is what the new year is. So what makes the new year is what you are able to do within that year. So as you can see, it all depends on you. You have every reason, you have every right to write whatever it is that you want to write on it. So I mean, I believe that should give us an ideology of what the forging into 2025, transforming reflection into action gives to us. So in this conference today, and on the first, many people will be saying, oh, why is it on the first? The day two, is 1st of January. The idea is to come into a room, listen to visionaries, and then they launch you into the year. While some people are partying, we will also party, in this summit on day two. But you listen to things that can give you practical step into how to launch into the year properly. Of course, you already know the lineup speaker. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me to more like open your mind to what you are about to hear. And right now, I'll be bringing up Mr. Jimmy Tewe. A lot of us, there are a few people within the who signed up for this. A lot of them, some of them, wrote that they want to listen to Mr. Jimmy. And when I heard about the very first person that came to my mind to bring to this conference is Jimmy Tewe. I've interacted with him from when I checked my Instagram history, I saw 2017, but I've been checking up his content before then, and this is my first time of ever reaching out to him. And at a point, just to let you know, he said something while we were having conversation about all of this. He said, let's make this work. Mr. Jimmy, I'm telling you in front of everyone that really means so much to me. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, his profile is on the website, and his link, and the link to his website is on the website too, so you can go read more about him. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome the phenomenal. He's a coach. His advice are premium. Some of us already know him. Welcome, Mr. Jimmy Tewe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adura. Good evening. It's afternoon over here in Dallas, Texas. Good afternoon, everybody. And well done to the team for putting this together. Interestingly, this season, I'm saying a lot more no's to speaking opportunities, not because I'm proud, but I'm just trying to have quite a bit on my plate, I know, but I made a commitment to him, and we try to make this work, and I'm happy we're making this work. Don't worry, I'm not going to be spending all the time today to disturb you. My job is to give the keynotes and essentially set the tone for what is most likely going to be happening over the next 3 days. I'll start by referencing something that he spoke about earlier, and that is the fact that the new year does not hold anything for anybody. And I know that typically is a very controversial statement. People might feel, what does it mean by that? And again, I tell people that you can always, if you stand on either side of the number 6, somebody says 9, somebody says 6, they're both correct, so it's just the concept of perspectives. And I think that what it's trying to introduce is essentially a perspective about the way to view this new year. One of the things we speak about a lot about the new year is New Year resolutions, okay? And I've been in this space for quite a bit now. New Year resolutions are taking quite a hit, and people in fact say now that New Year resolutions are a waste of time. New Year resolutions are, don't even bother yourself, just live your life, just take it one day at a time, just keep going and all that. And again, like I said, I could see both perspectives. I understand the perspective about having New Year resolutions. It's just another day, it's just, I became 46 years old a few days ago, like weeks now. And my daughter asked me in the morning, so how do you feel? The truth about it is that you don't feel any different, okay? It's another day, all right? But you also don't want to miss the significance of the fact that there is a way that we measure things, all right? Thank you. There's a way that we measure things, and generally to give a bit of harmony across. Imagine if somebody says, my own Sunday is Monday. Someone says, my own Friday is Wednesday. Somebody says, my own Tuesday is Thursday. There's going to be chaos. So for society, for us to be able to work together, there are certain things that we have to jointly agree on. For example, the concept of time. All right. So somebody says, for example, if you're in Lagos, Nigeria, the time is 7:08 or 7:06 or something like that. Then you are speaking to somebody in Dallas and says, no, it's 12:06. And you're like, no, it's 7:06. You know, you are both correct, but you're just looking at it from different, perspectives. So I believe that New Year are moments where everybody generally can come into a new awareness and gives people an opportunity to refresh, to renew, and to relaunch themselves. Now, there's no law that says that everybody must do it at the same time. I have been preparing for the new year for a couple of weeks now. All right. I don't believe in that. It's January 1, and I'll say, now, what do I want to do? All right. I've been doing that. And I think everybody deserves a new year. The second thing I want to say about it is the fact that ideally, New Year's are meant to birth new experiences. So when we say Happy New Year, the hope, HOPE, that a lot of people have is that with the turn of the clock, old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. But if you've been around for a bit, like me, you will know that that's not the way that life works. That until there's change in certain dimensions, there will not be change in certain experiences. So I'll tell you, for example, that some people experienced 2023 in 2024. There was no difference in their lives between what happened in fact. For some people, it's as if they experienced 2019 in 2024. All right. So, for example, if you live in Nigeria, where our host is based, the amount of money that you hold lost value. And so, even though your salary was increased from 17 million naira per annum to 25 million naira per annum, you still feel like you're earning 17 million, all right, because the value of the money you are holding has reduced, all right? And so if you are not intentional, therefore, to create new experiences, even though you step into a new year, you will not have those new experiences. So I believe that the panel you're going to have, the speakers you're going to have will be speaking from different perspectives. And I want you to learn. Somebody might say something that the first time they say it, it might sound very offensive to you, might sound quite different to you. I want you to learn how to be able to glean wisdom from even contrary, conversations. All right. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Now, what I want to do is this, that now for me, I've done coaching for a number of years. People have come to me and said to me, Jimmy, that I need to achieve greater levels of performance. I'm grateful that I've been able to help individuals, help organizations. And so the question is, how do we get people to not just reflect, but move from reflection to action? And I believe that that's what the theme is all about. Let's talk about reflection. Reflection is an internal conversation. It's an internal activity. It is introspective, all right? It is introspection, all right, where you are meant to set expectations before you now take actions, okay? But the truth about it is this, that a lot of people do not introspect. Right now, I think I heard that there's Dirty December all over Lagos, Nigeria. So a lot of people are not introspecting. They don't have the time. Unfortunately, they're going to have parties January 1, January 2. By January 6, they have to resume. And when you resume, you immediately go to the last defaults of performance that you have and begin to run from there, okay? What I'm going to share with you today, and I'm hoping, because I know that, and this is what happens, that many of them set bigger visions, bigger dreams, but they never achieve it. You know the reason why? The vehicle that is meant to get you to where you are going to has to change. So for example, if somebody is driving a Range Rover, nice one, 2024, all right, no matter how nice it is, you cannot drive from Nigeria to America. Is that okay? There's no path for you to pass, as it were. You can drive to the United Kingdom, all right? You can drive to some parts of Europe, but there's no land path to be able to drive. What does that mean in essence? It means that the only way, there are two ways. The only way to be able to get to America is you must change vehicles. You either go by ship or you go by air. So a lot of people are setting America goals from Nigeria, but they are driving cars, hoping to get there. What is required to change is that your vehicle has to change. And ladies and gentlemen, your vehicle is an embodiment called you. For you to have new experiences in the new year, you have to change. The version of you that is listening to me most likely is not the version that can deliver on the desires and the goals that you have. And so I put it this way: instead of going faster, sometimes you need to go higher. And this is what people think about. I want to get more results. So what do I need to do? I need to do more of what I've been doing. Usually, at a certain level, economies of scale begins to set in, and you cannot do more by doing more. You actually do more by doing less. This year, for example, I sat back and I looked at it and I said to myself, "Oh, my son is going to college this year. I don't want him to pay any school loans. How much is the school fees in a year?" I did the maths. How much would it be over 4 years? I did the maths. And I am preparing myself. In fact, look at it. Right in front of me is a book that I'm reading right now, The $100 Million Offer, all right? Setting $100 million, that's the book I'm reading right now, all right? Picked it up this morning, just go to some things. Why? Because I realized that I need to have more premium products rather than just general products. For me to get where I'm going to, I don't need 100 customers that can pay me. I mean, think about it now. Maybe $100 in Naira is 170,000. So I told somebody, you know what? For one month, pay me $5,000. They're like, 5,000 times 1,700. Yeah, mine will just scatter. All right. So obviously, I can't do business in Nigeria this year. As much now. There are few clients. I still had a client that flew me to Nigeria recently, paid in dollars. I don't collect Naira any longer because it doesn't make sense. They can pay at that level, so I'm paying attention to them. All right. So, but this is the thing about it. You want to earn $5,000 with a 1 month coaching. You want to earn $25,000, $50,000. And as I'm saying these things, please start getting used to those numbers. All right. So you want to do that. $50,000 really and truly is 5 customers giving you $10,000. $50,000 could also mean 5,000 people. I'll be 500 people will give me $100. But can I say this to you? To sell to 500 people, to give you $100, you will almost die. You get my point? Except it's automated, of course. All right. So what you definitely, I now realize that I need to change my vehicle. So this morning I've spoken to somebody. We're rebranding my website. We're repositioning. I've tested my product. I've realized that there's some gaps. I've done my research in the industry. I realized that there's some opportunities I can actually leverage. I am positioning myself so that if I get, think about it, a client pays me $25,000, and in a year I get 50 clients. I've done $1.25 million. So I'll say, why will you, no, 50, why will you get 50 people that will give you $1.25 million? There are over 300 million people that live in America. About 100 and something million. No, I can't remember, the 19 million or something in Canada or whatever. In that number, I only need 50 people that can say, Jimmy, I have the money. I want you on my side. I trust you. So the Jimmy that is going to do that is not the Jimmy that's always appearing on Instagram. So in 2025, I'm not appearing on Instagram as much as I used to do before. All right. I have to become a better version of me. So there are things I'm doing. I'm rebranding myself. All right. I realize that I actually have quality. People don't realize that I have a corporate background. So I want to bring all of that out now. I'm putting it there. Spoken to somebody. We have to redesign my website. So you see all of these things. Have you noticed that it's not outside? It's all internal. Guys, if you truly want to turn introspection or your reflections into actions, the power of your reflections also determines the power of your actions. All right. So it's not just being quiet and going somewhere and just being quiet. Because if you are by yourself, you are most likely going to keep vibrating at the same resonance of intelligence. You have to accommodate new influences that challenge you. Yesterday, I went to see somebody and this kind of like reinforced what I'm thinking. And the guy said to me, sir, I just went for a conference. I paid $55,000 for that conference. This guy's a Nigerian. And I'm like, why is it not paying me $55,000? You get my point? So I now began to believe that my $25,000 offer is a possible offer. You get my point? So some of you are at work, you are hoping that God, let them increase my salary. My question is that if they increase your salary, will it really bring about increase in the Nigeria you have today? Or if you became a better version of yourself, and I'm going to talk about the actual dimension, better version of yourself, and position yourself. But listen to me now, please take one of my key lessons for this year. The way you see yourself will determine the ceiling of actions you can take in life. I'll say that again. The way that you see yourself, in fact, if there's one prayer you must pray, say, God, help me to see myself the way I'm meant to be seeing myself. For example, I talk to business owners and I discovered, for example, that their pricing is actually a reflection of their self-esteem many times. That what you price, do you know Corporate Affairs Commission, they do, I don't know, the last time I checked, company registration, you can do company registration for 75,000 naira per annum for a registration, 75,000 naira. Afe Babalola charges 1 million naira to do the same thing. Is it not the same company? It is the same company. All right. 75,000 to 1 million, and sometimes even more than that, is about perception. You get my point? It's still the same form that we feel. Now, you might not be Afe Babalola, but I'm saying to you that if your view and the experience of you changes and you are rightly positioned, you can birth new experiences. So very quickly, because I like to talk and it's a problem, what happens in the inside? So what I'm doing today is lay the foundation that others are going to build on, okay? What happens on the inside? Two things happen, thoughts and words. I'm a believer, and one of the scriptures that David prayed to God, he said, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be pleasing or acceptable in your sight. Why did he say that? He's not trying to say, God, let me not just have bad thoughts. No. What he's saying is this, that God, any belief system, because your belief is crafted by your consistent thoughts and consistent words on the inside of you. All right? By the way, your thoughts are actually premised on your exposures, what you allow through your gates, what you see, what you hear, and what you say consistently, all right? So it says, let the words of my mouth, let the meditations of my heart, let them be pleasing in your sight. In other words, let me put it this way, the kind of results that you have created me to have in 2025, may my thoughts and my internal words not be lower than what you expect of me. And what God is going to do is that God now brings you around books that can change your thoughts. God brings you around people that can challenge your thoughts. And then all of a sudden, your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about what you can do, where you can do. Some of you are meant to be doing business in Canada, meant to be doing business in America, because business in Nigeria might not be paid, but you have not summoned the courage to take action. So it starts from the inside. You doubt yourself. And you're like, or some of you are like this, you have been doing business consulting for SMEs. And someone has been saying, why don't you send an email to Guarantee Trust Bank? Why don't you send an email to Nigeria LNG? Why you not send an email to Chevron? And you're like, what if I send it? What if they reject it? Well, if they reject it, find out why they rejected it and make an adjustment. That's what you're meant to do. But if your words now, it is proven in science that we speak more to ourselves internally than externally. In other words, for every one word you speak outside, you have spoken 10 inside. Look at his head. You have not said anything outside, though. Look at her. She's forming like I don't know that she doesn't like me. You are talking to yourself. Words are going on consistently on the inside of you. And what is said is that the words on the inside of you are shaping you consistently. This is why you must make sure that your thoughts, because your words are actually a product of your consistent thoughts. You must make sure that your thoughts are in the right space. Have you ever had the quote that says that low people discuss things, average people discuss events, but average people discuss people, and high-level people thinking discuss ideas. If your thoughts are not like in that domain, what will happen is that you become a victim of where you're playing. All right? If all you are doing is you're settling family fights and your friend is having a breakup and you yourself, you have had to break and all that, I can tell you, forget about New Year. You are going to have an old year. And the reason why men will do that is because they are not masters over their environment. You must monitor your internal environment. One time, one of my very dear people, a relative that was very close to me, was going through depression. And I listened like a lot and all that. So he will call me in the morning and tell me, Jimmy, I can't do anything today. if anything happens to me, please make sure that my family this, and I would say it's well. I will encourage him. I would take 1 hour of my morning, almost every morning, encouraging him. After a while, I realized I started having depressive thoughts. I'm telling you, because 7 a.m. in the morning is when I'm meant to be firing, going on all cylinders. And because of my heart to help, I am allowing somebody to intrude my environment in the morning. So you know what I stopped doing? I stopped picking his call 7 a.m. I didn't pick his call until after 12. After my day has taken off, my plane has launched, and I am cruising. Then I can entertain that. And I remember Jimmy, I'm not picking my calls again and all that. I was in a meeting. And I wasn't lying. I was in a meeting with myself. Yes, I meet myself in the morning. I meet God and I meet me. Because I didn't have time to pray. I didn't have time to think. I didn't have time to plan. Those are the things you do with your meeting for yourself. Then you now take action based on that. Guys, guess what? At the end of the day, he now adjusted and began to call me in the afternoon. Listen to me. You have to be somewhat selfish about your internal environment in 2025. All right? Be balanced enough because you're a member of society. You have to interact with people and all those kind of things. But you must manage your internal environment. 2 things that shape it: your thoughts and the words you speak to yourself. Someone says, all these people that they say, they have a quote, just be saying, I am something, I am something. It's nonsense. It's not nonsense. If you understand psychology, you realize that if you believe what you are saying, it will actually happen to you. All right? But this is the problem. People say things. I am a billionaire. I have 10 cars. No, it's not. You see, you have to be to have. So if your affirmations are around having, you will not have them. Your affirmations are meant to be around being. I am intelligent. Some people cannot attempt some presentations because they believe they are not. In fact, you hear somebody say things like, and there's something like that I said, you say things like, I can do it, but when it comes to maths, numbers, count me out. What do you mean by that? You have disqualified yourself. And listen to me, you can't have numbers, financial numbers, if you don't know numbers too. As simple as that. All right? So let the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart, let them be pleasing in your sight. Now, the other side to it is, can I say this to you? If you do your reflections well, if you do your introspection well, you will take action. I'm telling you, the problem is usually inside. All right? You will take action. But there are 4 dimensions of action I want to talk about real quick as I begin to wrap up. All right? Because I hear that I can take a few questions and all that. And that's what I really want to just, focus the time on. There are 4 dimensions. The first dimension of action, this is how I know you are reflecting. You are writing down a vision. Until you have written something that you want to do, you have not reflected well. If all you are writing is on your problems, hey, how much do I owe? $72,000. How much do I just? Please. In fact, the good book says, write the vision, make it plain. The first action of reflection is vision. You come up because even your life cannot change until you see something new. Your new year should be a documented thing. You should say in 2025, I will be debt-free, but not only that, I will be at this level financially. In 2025, I will go to an Ivy League school. I hope you have applied already. You get my point? You start speaking or writing. This true reflection always will lead to vision. And vision must be documented. Now, let me tell you what vision is. Vision is what you must think about every day of 2025 to make it a reality. The problem is that some people even go from reflection to vision. They document it, but ask them in February, what did you write? They don't remember. One of the habits you should have. So every time, this is my desk in my office, I'm changing my office very soon. And all that, to charge $25,000, you have to look $25,000, all right? So there's some things that are going to be changing and all that. But you see, the fact about it is this, that the vision that you want to write, it must be clear. You must be able to create something you can work with. So every morning when I come to my office, I sit down, I write my goal again for the year. So my activities on a daily basis are leading me towards that goal. Sometimes I adjust my goal when I realize I aimed high or I aimed wrong. Are you getting me? But the idea behind it is that I make sure that my actions are channeled towards getting me to where I want to get to. All right? So first is vision, and included with vision is planning. Make it plain. In other words, make it something that is attainable. You say, oh, in 2025, you want to, I don't know what it is your goal is and all that, but it's that. And now, please, your goal will be something that resonates deeply with you. Don't copy somebody's goal. Don't see Olive's goal and say, this one looks very good though. Let me add it. No. That's the problem. That's why you cannot achieve what she wants to achieve. You must achieve what you, and that's where introspection and all those things come. All right. Lack of vision and planning. Number two is that in 2025, you will fail at some things. But the problem is that people misinterpret failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn. It has immediate consequences, and those consequences sometimes can become a distraction. But can I say this to you? I read something in the book about Jeff Bezos. It says something. It says, I'm trying to summarize. It says, in business, every once in a while, when you step up to the plate, you can score 1,000 runs. Speaking about baseball, this long-tail distribution of returns is why it's important to be bold. Big winners pay for so many experiments. In 2025, you will say, I will do this. You will launch it. It will not launch. Instead of getting frustrated, de-risk your initiatives as best as you can. Manage them, manage your stakeholders, but try better the next time. Can I say this to you? Champions are people that learned from failure. It's not more than that. I've tried some things here that did not work, but I've learned and I've made adjustments based off of that. Do you know why some people don't take action? Because they're actually afraid. Have you had somebody say, what if I do it, and what if it does not work? Where did you learn that you can do something and it cannot work? It's because of your past failures. So the second thing is you have to learn from the mistakes that you make. Of course, as much as possible, try to plan. In fact, the more accurate you are in your planning, all right, we have things in business called scenario planning and those kind of things. The more accurate your assumptions are, the more likely your success is going to become. Number three is lack of discipline. Why people don't have action. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you want to do is you want to browse all the social media platforms, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, because I'm saying that because that's one of the biggest distractions that we have today. Have the discipline to know that the first few hours of the day must be spent with God and with yourself before you spend with others. You don't have to pick phone calls. You're not a call center. Can you listen to me? It's very critical, all right? And embrace, listen to me. Every new dimension of you is a more disciplined version of you. It's not more than that. Discipline with how you handle time. Discipline with how you handle your energy. Discipline with how you handle your resources. Discipline. All right? I'm not going to emphasize that. I'm sure somebody's going to talk about that. The last one is what I call execution distraction. All right? You have to execute. One of the books I read is called Execution by Ram Charan and Larry Bossidy many years ago. And one of the things they discovered is that a lot of people don't know how to do what they said they would do. You get my point? They don't know how to do what they said they would do. That's one of the things I have learned. You know, if I say, so in September, in August, the idea about going to Canada to go and hold conferences crossed my mind. I thought about it, reflection. Then I sat down, planning. Then I called a few people, testing the waters. They said, come, and all that. September 19, I was in Canada for 1 month. No, I came back October 14. September 19 to October 14, we did 6 conferences in 6 cities in 4 weekends, all free of charge. All right. And people were blessed. I have new friends, new proteges, new mentees from that. They bought my books. They have signed up to my programs. They are my partners for what I'm doing and all those kind of things. The thing about me is that if I say I'm going to do it, I've done it. I sat down. Before I went to Canada, that August when I was still thinking about it. So one of my people that I speak to, Kule Shorio, He lives here in Dallas also. So we had lunch together. And so I said, oh, then I'm going to Canada in a few weeks and all those kind of things. And he said, oh, you're going. He said, so, oh, your book will be ready, yeah? Your book will be ready. I said, because I told him that I had an idea to write a book. I said, no, sir. I was thinking that I'll write the book around my birthday so I can launch it. You know, this kind of thing. They say, launch my birthday. He said, no, Jim. He calls me Jim. He said, Jim, no. You are taking your book with you to Canada. This was 4 weeks to the trip. I've not written one word. Guys, in 4 weeks, the book was written, edited, ISBN, printed. And this is the book in front of you here. All right? This is the book. You get my point? 164 pages. As I was writing, I was sending to the editor who was editing, and the ISBN was getting ISBN. I was talking to the printer. I was doing that. So your execution is the ability to get things done. In 2025, listen to me. Sometimes you want to sit down to get things done. Before you know it, you are distracted. You must know your distractions. If you don't know your distractions, you have not started. You need to know who distracts you, what distracts you, when the distraction will come, so that you have a mitigation plan against it. For example, I work a lot on social media, but sometimes I get distracted. You know what I do? I log out. Guess what happens? After I log out, I just pick the phone. I want to click Instagram again, then I still logged out. Then I remember that, oh, I'm trying to work on something. Then I drop my phone, then I go back to it again. I'm not perfect at it, but I am more disciplined at it. Guys, if you can work better on visioning and planning, learning from failure, embracing discipline, and ensuring that you are executing, I'm telling you, 2025 will be a new year. So please don't feel like, oh, it's a waste of time to have New Year resolutions. It's how we all relate to know that it's a new year. But what you can do is you can leverage it to create new experiences by creating a new you. Remember, I said it is first inside, then outside. It is first reflections, then it's actions. And I've told you that reflections are the words, the thoughts that you permit to consistently shape your beliefs on the inside. Your actions are the offshoots or the manifestation of what you have reflected on the inside. And like I said, visioning and planning, failure, interpreted properly, that's learning, discipline, embrace, and execution throughout the year. I'm going to stop here because there are many other amazing speakers that are coming after me. My job today is to just lay the foundation, and I hope I've done a good job with that. All right? Over to you, Adora. I can't hear you. You're mute.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, wow. That was such a great section. I mean, everyone, yes, please go into the chat room, say thank you to Mr. Jimmy. Yes, just before we take questions, I mean, it would be nice for just maybe like 2 people to just say what they just learned, key things, very fast, just unmute yourself or request to be muted. And yes, please. Anyone going, and please prepare your question. Okay, yes, Emmanuel, you are unmuted. Please speak.
Okay, thank you, Adora, for this session, and thank you very much, Mr. Jimmy, for the very impactful session. I just want to say the among the points you raised, what stood out for me is the fact that when you write out your vision, you have to be thinking about it every day. That's one thing that stood out for me, and it's something that I need to be intentional about, because just like you said, your life moves in the direction of your consistent thoughts. So for you to make, for your vision to become a reality, you just have to be intentional about it and to think about it. And also, like when you mentioned that, you write your goals down every day, regularly, that's a very intentional step too. That's also stood out for me. Also something I want to imbibe and also be practicing. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, wow. Nice. Thank you. That is such a great note. Anybody else? Okay. Yeah, please go on, Mr. Wale. Yeah,
Okay,
you can
good evening,
speak.
Adura. Good evening, Mr. Jimmy Tewe. I'm so inspired by. Thank you for this session, sir. God bless you. So inspired by the session and the things that jumped out at me. Some of the things that the one that my key, one of my two of my key takeaways for tonight will be winners pay for the big winners pay for experiment and big winners pay for many experiments. And I think that sometimes earlier this year I took some decisions that some of the things, there were the goals that I set for myself. I didn't really, I've not really finished, but I started. But it is from failures that one is from failures that one learn. And one other thing that you also said about try to start earning in dollars. I think that it is high time for young people, for people who really, I really want to really try, really want to make it big, to start really thinking about how can you take your skill global. You can go by whatever is it that you want to, whatever it is that you are doing. You can go on all these job listing website abroad. If you are the one that you want to work in 9 to 5, go to job listing website, look at some of the position you would like to fill, look at the skill set that they're asking for, then begin now to now train yourself along those lines. Are there, or go online, for example, go on LinkedIn, for example, and see people already occupying that particular position. What kind of skill set do they have? How do you, if you are trying to go global, then that means that what you want to sell must be able, it must appeal to a global audience. So how are we going, some of the things that don't, some of the things I'm now thinking about is how do I now take my skill, if I want to earn in dollars next year, what do I need to do? How do I present the skill? What are the new things what do I need to learn to make sure that whatever, if they are recruiting someone with that level of skill, someone with that level of, so does will my skill set match? If they are supposed to, if you have a company for example in US, and I want to recruit somebody who does what I do, and these are the things that they are looking for. Can I match those? Those are things. Those are some of the things I also need to also consider and put in place, that my skill set, the things that the knowledge that I have must appeal to a global audience, and that's one of the reasons. And the way I even present the knowledge that I have, the way I present it, the packaging must appeal to a global audience, and people beyond the shores of my country must also be able to see value in it and be able to offer me that money, the kind of the how would I put what I'm going to be charging them for. I think those are my key takeaway from this evening session, and I want to thank the conveners and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Jim for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Yes. Mr. Jimmy, I think that is a question right there. Saying, how do we package what we know? How do we package our value into, most of the people joining in tonight, they are in Nigeria. So how do we package what we know our value into earning in dollars and other currency, and not just about earning, but positioning ourselves for being to be a global talent? Please go ahead, sir.
All right. So obviously, I'm not able to speak succinctly to that because that's probably a masterclass. Sorry. But I'll just say something to you. Is one thing that there are a lot of people that are even making money now from Nigerians, telling them, come and do this program, you'll be able to earn in dollars and all that, and they're making money from them because they know people are desperate. So first thing is, you still have to learn somewhere, but be careful about it. Anybody that is not making it, or has not made it, cannot teach you about that. That's the first thing I'll say. Second thing is this, that I'll say is that earning in dollars, or across any currency in the world, is basically first and foremost understanding the value that you carry, And let's be very factual. Everybody carries value, but your value might not be as refined. That's the first thing I want to say. So in Nigeria, we have what we call crude oil. I hope you know that's not the name. It's just the states. It is oil that is crude. So crude oil is not the name of oil. It is just oil that is crude. And crude means unprocessed. So that oil actually contains over 30 different valuable products. But the person who refines is the one that gets the most value out of crude oil. Nigeria, unfortunately, is only an expert in exporting crude oil. So my value is that, is your value crude? My thought is, first, is it crude value? You cannot sell crude value internationally and expect to earn good value for it. Again, another rule is that value is in the eye of the beholder. In other words, the person you want to give you a job, what are they looking for? Do you have it? If you don't have it, they're not going to give it to you. They're not going to say, oh, humanitarian effort, let's support Nigerians because it's tough economically. That's not their business. So apart from you refining your value, you must be able to know who desires that value. And if you don't have as much value, go and get more valuable. That's the thing that I'm going to say. All right. All right. The second thing is that you need to know the channels or where the market is. Essentially, what I'm saying is that you have to be able to look and say to yourself, is it China that needs what I need? Because everybody thinks about dollars. Dollar is not the only currency in the world. All right. There are people, I know somebody who relocated from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia last week. I met somebody, I came to Nigeria about 3 weeks ago in Abuja. I met a guy who was going to Saudi Arabia. That is where, so he's not earning dollars, but he's earning whatever they earn there. And so it might be Dubai. It might be so. The challenge is that many people don't want to do the mental work to be able to introspect, to be able to sit down and look at the market, for example, and say, where do I play? What I have, is it good enough to be able to be presented outside? Who needs it? Then once you can get that, you will not even know the channels through which you are able to present that. People are actually getting jobs in Nigeria. I know people that have remote jobs in Nigeria, for example, but they're highly skilled in their field. You get my point? They have been able to distinguish themselves, position themselves appropriately for that. I know somebody who is selling African food and they're exporting it. But to get it, you have to get FDA approval. All right? It's part of the, the requirements, regulatory requirements for the food. So you sell food, you say, all I want to do is, I can see Mojibade here. Mojibade, you are traveling to US. Please help to carry one bag of chin-chin. That's one level, but that's not full export. Full export means you're selling a container full of something. By the way, there's risk in that, but there's also profit in that. Are you hearing me? I believe people should build. So there's a lot that can be said. I want to ask you, that thing you call value, and when I say value, what can you do that is of value to somebody else? Can it cross Nigerian border? If Nigeria cannot even take it, why do you think that they'll take it abroad? You get my point? And if they can take it abroad, then which abroad are we talking about? Is it UK abroad? Is it Germany abroad? Is it Dubai abroad? Is it US abroad? Is it Canada abroad? You get my point? Some abroad will require you to now relocate. Some you don't have to relocate. So you have to be very detailed around this thinking. And when you don't have information, ask for people. Ask information from people and get that information. Like I said, it could be a masterclass, but I just wanted to just present the foundation with which I think you can engage. I'm sure there's a lot of information, but please beware of scammers. There's a lot of people that are scamming people to say, earn $1 million in 10 days, all right? And you see them, you know that they're not earning $1 million in 10 days. Is that okay? But there are some people that genuinely are out there. And also, I wish you all the best where that is concerned. Next question.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Yes, please, any other question? You can raise up your hand if you do have another question, anyone who has a question. Okay, please go ahead, sir. Okay, someone just raised up his hand.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much, Mr.
And please kindly unmute and question.
Okay, so my question is concerning positioning. Beginning of this year, had some goals all set up, and should I say, okay, in the process, due to like job placement or having to get another position, it became very hard to balance the goals which has been set or which I've set for myself because of the kind of schedule the job was demanding. So in a scenario like that, how will you contain it to be able to make sure you put in the required efforts to achieve your goal?
So we started off by positioning, and I'm hearing now some about your scheduling and all those kind of things. Well, let me talk about the scheduling first part, the scheduling part first. The truth about it is that life is going to happen in 2025, all right? And many things you did not plan are going to show up, okay? And it's your ability to be able to manage. It won't be done perfectly, by the way, but manage yourself that will determine how productive you will be. Some people are going to get derailed by what is going to happen to them. Right? The loved one will pass on, an opportunity will not come through, some other things that happen. What I've learned is this, that have moments where you sit down to recalibrate. Write it down. Recalibrate. Recalibration is an activity where, they said like pilots have a flight plan, all right? They tell them they're going to go to longitude this, latitude this, that. The reason why I give them those things is that no plane, two planes can crash. Pilots don't fly by their screen. They fly by the routes that have been given to them, all right? If they fly by their screen, it's only when they're about to hit another plane that they will now press brake. You get my point? So pilots fly by the flight plan. Now, because of the wind, turbulence, and all those kind of things, all right, there's always deviation from the flight plan. The job of the pilot, 70% of the time, is to get the plane back on track. What does that mean? That is introspection. In other words, they have all the dials and the dashboard and all that, and by interpreting it, they know that, we're off track, we need to go 1 degree back and all that. Listen to me. Have introspection as part of your activity so that you are able to measure. For example, some things are going to come that you did not even plan, a big opportunity. You can't say no to it. It means you have to say no to some other things you plan to do. One of the problems I see, for example, is that people have issues managing their stakeholders. And what I mean by that is that you have a new opportunity that comes and you're still telling somebody, I will give you 12 hours of my day. I can't give you 12 hours again. There's some seasons, I'm married, I have to tell my wife that, baby, because of this time, I'm going to be spending, but this is what we're going to do to make up for it, all right? Manage your stakeholders. Now, if you don't have that conversation, what happens is that you now start fighting. Say, she doesn't understand, but I'm very busy. Say, well, you don't have time for me. You get my point? Stakeholder management, that's another dimension to it. So that's the first thing. About positioning for opportunities and all that, I'll tell you that there are 2 dimensions at the minimum you should to position. Position virtually and position physically. Your virtual positioning is what I see when I check on you about you online. It's not more than that. So when I type your name, now some of you, your name is so common that there are 152 of you alive, and all of you are on Facebook. So before I can find you, names like Bola Adeshola, I am very sure there's more than one. There's a woman, managing director, and she's a bank MD. Her name will come out before your own name. So when I meet you and I cannot see you, I start doubting you. Have you noticed that whenever you meet somebody, you go and check them online? That's the virtual thing. So control the virtual storytelling that people have about you. I told you I'm doing more now in America and all that. We're working behind the scenes, some search engine optimization. When you check me, what you will see about me is what I want you to see about me. Don't leave it to Google to determine what they will say about you. So there's virtual positioning, all right? The other positioning is your physical positioning, all right? And I'll tell you something. If you want to do business in America, for example, you might need to get a visa that allows you to do business in America. There are visas, it doesn't mean relocation. But you might need to come here a bit more often. You want to do business in Dubai, you get a residence permit, because I heard that Dubai now, they're giving only 4-day visas. There's a physical dimension to success. You have to be in the right spaces per time, all right? Physical also is being with the right people too, okay? So that you can hear opportunities. Because sometimes the opportunity in your field, in all labor there's profit. There's conversations of profitability. The only problem is that you can't hear it. That's why you don't have it. So physically, where do you spend your time? Who do you spend time with? I told you I saw somebody yesterday. That conversation triggered something in me all over again. You get my point? So in 2025, I'm particular. I don't have time just to be doing dirty December and clean January. All right? No, I am being focused and intentional about it. So two things, virtual and physical. Manage those two very well. It will determine how, when they are looking for you, they can find you. Is that okay? I hope that has helped. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I know you have, another meeting to get into.
Yes, please.
But yes, just to ask this, on behalf of some people, which I believe this will relate to quite a number of people. As for me as a creative, right? And of course, everyone can apply it to whatever they are doing. I am a thinker. I think a lot. And so what happens most of the time is that I think I cook some things I've done. So sometimes a quote comes to my head, then I write it down. I go into a designing app, I design it, but posting it can dial at just at designing. So I've literally moved it from my reflections into a bit of action, but I didn't finish through. So and I believe most people find it hard in these two. It's not because I don't want to post. Somebody will just say, oh yes, just go post. But somehow or for a musician, you write a song and you didn't release it out, and so on and so forth. So how can we best position ourselves for this? Yes, I see someone has a question. After this, we will take just that one. And yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. You need to realize that every strong person has weaknesses. All right. So one of the challenges with creative people is what is called the shiny object syndrome. You start something, as you're doing it, you see another thing, you chase it, you see another one, you chase it, and what you have is a mind, a field with incomplete projects. So one of the things two things I want to suggest to you is, number one, you have a system to review your activities consistently to see, if there's a pattern around that so that you can stop it. Number two is that before you even begin, to have a process you incorporate that enables you to evaluate initiatives before you engage with them, that you see it. And the problem about the creative or someone that's entrepreneurial is that you see it, you want to run with it immediately. All right. But some things you want to run with don't make sense or they're still unrefined. So one of the things I had to do at the point in time was that one time I sat down and I had like 17 ideas. So I sat down and I created a decision-making table. I said, in this phase of my life, these 5 things are very critical. The financial part, my family, I listed 5 critical things. I now scored all of the 17 based off of that, and I picked the top 5. When I picked the top 7, when I picked the top 7, and I called 3 people that were very close to me, and I said to them, I said, and one of them very business-like, one of them, like me, a bit balanced, and I asked them that, rate what you think I should focus on based off of this. Because it's a business idea. It's not just so, business means traction, low-hanging, quick conversion, and all kind of things. Sometimes we're pursuing things we are passionate about, but you are doing it in an unsustainable manner. There's some things that you are not passionate about, you must do first to provide the finances for the other things that you're passionate about to run. You get my point? So I did that, and that helped me a lot. In fact, what they picked is not what I wanted to pick, it's the least one. But that one enabled me. You get my point? So I have people like that in my corner. And the second thing is your accountability. Who are the people in your space that can call you and say, Adura, you started again, though. You have started again. And you can actually listen, and if they have a point, you can make adjustments in that regard, okay? So those are the 2 things I would say real quick.
Thank you so much for that, sir. So yes, accountability is a key that keeps you going. So yes, I can see Ayodele
Olowole. Yes, so please go on.
Okay. Good evening, this team. I'm actually delighted in all the analysis you've given. It's something that I've been practicing. Sometimes I forget those points you mentioned. The major thing that I always look at most of the time, major thing that I always look at all the time is adding value. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Value is always the center of my concern. If you don't have value for yourself, you don't have value for what you do, you don't have value for the meaning of life you live, especially your closeness to God, understanding that you are his product, and he will give you the mindset to be creative and to be successful in everything you do. It will be very difficult to move forward. Then the value system we are looking at are two areas. I look at the entrepreneurship, I look at the career orientation. Those are the major two parts that we seem to take. Where my concern is, which from the inception, I've been an entrepreneur, not very successful.
Okay.
Well, I'm grateful to God. Is looking at being an entrepreneur, you have to identify your idea, do a business plan, and do your finances, and then your human resources, your marketing has to be sound. The major area that I always have issues has always been the finance. Because my belief is that I don't need to go to bank to give me the finance to do whatever I need to do. I don't need to go to anybody to get the finance to do what I need to do. I need to first of all start by creating my own finance from the little I do, to build up for those banks to be able to identify me and provide me the resources I need. But unfortunately for me, I have my family needs. You said you have to identify your family, all your needs in terms of finance. And that is a very heavy aspect of life, the needs of the family. It goes into the business aspect and kind of disrupt the finance I try to build to start or to go into the kind of volume of business I want to do. So I need you to assist me in analyzing the aspects. I know it will help others to be able to understand, because finance is the key to any business to commence. Then sustaining the business is marketing. You said you have to be where you want the kind of people that will promote you be. Like my own belief is that it depends on the kind of association that will make you to earn what you need to earn. Like I believe in real estate. I'm not really a real estate person, but I'm an architect. That is the source of bringing clients, because those who who actually buy properties are the rich. And I have to have them on my table to provide me the kind of finance I need to get my job done. So that's one question, the finance. Then for the career people, most people say, oh, you want to get jobs abroad, you have to have remote job, you have to do all those. If you don't have the skills, you don't identify the skills that they require for these jobs, you can't get them. So the area I want you to emphasize, how, apart from linking, how would our people be able to acquire the skills that is required to get the kind of attraction of our human resources internationally? Those are the two questions I have, please.
All right, thank you very much. I would speak quickly because I need to head out. Any question I can answer, Mujibade, that's what you get for not being in touch, okay? All right, so real quick, for business finance.
Yes, sir.
It's a universal challenge, If you have been doing business for a while and it's not working, you need to sit back first and really question that, is that the best route for me? Okay. I know some people that don't have the capacity to be entrepreneurial yet, but yet they're there, and because they get the accidental discharge once in a while. But after a while, you see that it will start telling your family and all those kind of things, all right? So business is not just what you're passionate about. In fact, I know people say, forget passion. You don't have to forget passion, but you must know the business of your passion. The problem is that people know the passion, but they don't know the business. So Mojibade, for example, loves to compare. She's MC. But I know that she's collecting some cool money that I'm coming to come and collect the title of, all right? But she knows the business of it. You get my point? So I tell you this, that if you are doing business and you're not making money, then you need to review what you're doing and really critically challenge yourself and say, is this the route for this season? And if it's not, then change and go and get a job. And do I have the skills or whatever? I'll talk about the skills for careers shortly, okay? But your business should be making money, okay? Or my business makes money, but I realize that for the next phase of my life, I need more money. So like I said, I have to become more, position myself differently and all those kind of things. So I'll say to you this, is that if you're a business person, don't think about what you like. Think about what people need that you can really provide. You see, it's given that people that can pay for what they need, if they find what they need, will pay you for it. So you have to be really very rudimentary in your thinking when it comes to business. What do people need? Go and validate it. Don't sell what you like. Sell what they need. And then number two, sell to the right people, because that's what you highlighted it. You want to sell houses, you are going to your village people and say, come and buy a house. It's aspirational for them. Even if they say, okay, I have 100,000 now, but the house is 1 billion. If I'll be giving you a small, you will just kill yourself over it. For you to become the kind of person that can sell to that market, you have to work on your inside. And then you try, and then it will not work. Then you adjust, then you try. One day you sell, and then, that's another journey on its own, because business is sales. If you don't do sales, if you have great products, because people have great products, but they can't sell, I don't like selling. I just said to yourself, I'm finished. That's what you just said to yourself. And selling is an acquired skill that requires, remember I spoke about discipline. You must know, but ask you, when do you sell? You must tell me when you sell. Every Monday is not a good time to sell because your clients are busy with their meetings. You're not calling them, hello, can we come over? They'll tell you no. And when you hear no, you think that they don't want it. No, you called at the wrong time. You need to know. You need to, okay, the kind of clients that I need for this business, you must be the kind of person that can. So there's a lot of work to be done in that regard. For career, acquiring the skills. In fact, there's so many opportunities right now for technology skills. If you're a young person, don't be too hung up on, I want to be a fashionpreneur. I want to be a whatever. Get skills, get money, then fashionpreneur. That's what I would advise you to do. You don't lose your fashionpreneur dream while you're trying to get your skills. But you know that I am doing this because I want to become the kind of fashionpreneur that might be okay. Listen to me. When you have rent problem, food problem, bills problem, you can't be who God has called you to be. You will struggle. That's what I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. So when Jesus said to seek the kingdom of God, don't worry about what you will eat, what you will drink, what you wear. What is saying that create a system to handle those ones so that you can be elevated and begin to think like kingdom people. Ideas, opportunities, innovation. You can't innovate if your landlord is calling you and they turn off the light. You hear me? So sit down and say to yourself, in 2025, this is how much I'm meant to be at my level. We're not living 30 BG yet, all right? But at my level, at a minimum, I must be earning this. Look at the distance. I say, I need to change my vehicle. What vehicle do I change? Is it a career vehicle? Is it a business vehicle? If it's a business vehicle, what kind of vehicle can I do that? And go and research and develop yourself, position yourself, and believe God to enter that. Once you enter that level, you know that your rent, you can pay 3 years ahead so that you don't worry. You don't think about rent, you don't have school fees sit down and say, how much do I need? And then plan around that. Is that okay? All right. I have to stop. I said, any other questions? Ask Mojibade. I got to go right now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
everybody.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I mean, I'll say, as you can see, we do not take your your being here for granted. I know you have other things to attend to, but I mean, thank you so much. And yes, everyone, please, I want you to unmute your mic if you can and say thank you, sir. Yes,
Thank
please do
you
that.
so
If you
much,
can't
sir.
unmute, type it in the chat. Let him see it.
Thank you so much,
Do a
sir.
virtual clap. Let's see, a virtual clap. Thank you so much, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
Chinwe.
All right, then. Bye, everybody.
God bless you for being here. All right. All right. Yes. Everyone. I'm sure you learned something, very profound with what he has said. As he said, I mean, we still have some of our panelists, some of our speakers who would take your questions. So please keep those questions, alive in your heart. But right about now, we would, go into a session with Mr. Olamilekan Oyebanjo. Mr. Oyebanjo, you can please unmute, sir. Okay, yes, he has asked that he's going to be sharing a slide. So yes, please, okay, it's
Hey, Adramigber, how are you doing? Good to connect. How is everyone?
Very well, sir.
It was like the session should not stop. I was also learning.
Oh yes.
Okay. So are we good to go?
Oh yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Awesome.
I will do a proper introduction of you when we are moving into the panel
perfect
session.
That's fine. I mean, there is no need for introduction. Anyone who probably wants to know me, they have the platforms readily available to go find out. Thank you so much for the invitation. Much more than the invitation, I am very much excited about what and who the people on this call will become. It was Jim Rohn who said that success is not majorly about the destination you're heading towards. It is more about who you become by just having the courage and the faith to want to go on that journey, right? So many people on this call might probably feel like, oh, where's the money they are going to give us or whatever, right? But the real definition of success is that you have been able, or you understand that it's about who you are becoming, right? Everyone you have on this call, the truth is, right, they didn't jump into where they are, right? They all got there by, gradual process. So I'll just get right into it. Please, Adramigba, could you just confirm on the chat if on mute, right? Just let me know how many minutes I have so I don't overshoot the time. So based on what I got, right? Yeah, how many minutes do I have so that I can put up my own time as well?
Oh yeah, 15 minutes out.
Okay, all right. So I'll be very brief with what I'll be sharing. Forge. I just love the theme, right? It says forge, meaning it is not about we go into many conferences to just sort of hear what the speaker wants to say. But today, I believe, I don't know what has been the criteria, right, for the invitation, but I believe the reason why I am probably here to speak to you today is because I have that practical, I've experienced that practical journey to want to speak to you, right? I'll just tell you a bit of my story, right, and tell you how I got here and why, for me, when the theme was sent as it being forged, right, I had to title my own Prepared by Process, right? The truth about the matter, is there is nobody who is legitimately doing anything, who is decently doing anything today, right, who was not prepared by process, right? They were prepared. Every single thing they went through, at the end of what they went through, at the end of the result, at the end of what you see them enjoying today, right, was all that they went through was meant for where they were supposed to be today, right? So whatever it is that you might be experiencing on this call, what I want you to just understand is that everything, the cumulative addition of everything you have gone through or still would go through is preparing you for where you're going. And I'm not motivating you. I'll just tell you a bit of my story, right? But before I go into that, the person you're hearing his voice right now, right, currently runs 5 businesses, right? If you've probably heard anything around Afara, you would find a connection between that name and my name, right? And I'm saying that with all level of responsibility without covering my eyes at all. Today we run a company or a domain and hosting company, right? Today we run a media company where we build website solutions for people. We have worked with the people you can mention that I don't even want to mention here, right? If you're talking about earning in millions, we have made that. I'm not boasting to you. I am preceding what I'm going to share with you with results, so that the people that are talking to you, right, are not just some pack of people who don't have things to show, right? And who probably may have things to show, but the process with which they got it is probably faulty. Today, we have companies that I do not want to mention. January this year, I ran a conference, right, where I invited Dr. Cosmos Maduka to just come share with us, just the same way I'm sharing with you guys today, right? So we've done some things in the background, right? Today, you probably will want to ask when I am done, right, that which school did I graduate from? Maybe you'll find out when I am done, right? The person you're hearing right now, if there is anyone who is not fit, who is a misfit, an underdog, 0 square one, who should not be speaking to you today, it should be me, right? So if you are so down, if you're so down, I don't know how you're down for 2024 wants to be, right? I was probably down, more down than you, right? So I started off as a bakery worker. I was working in the bakery, right? I'm not talking about the bakeries that you guys have in Lagos. I stay in Lagos. I stay in, a good part of Lagos by the grace of God. I would say that, and I'm not shy. If those who probably are engaging in certain things, they are not shy to flaunt their faith. I'm also not shy to talk about my faith, right? Because I have what is superior. So I'm telling you, if I started off as a bakery boy. If you probably know me and you've come in close proximity to me, you would understand and see. You will see all the certificate that I've earned being a bakery boy. I was that guy you could term as nothing, right? So if you hear when they say in the grade book that there was darkness in the world, that darkness was me. That was how my life was at that time. I was working in a bakery. I didn't have anything. My mom died in 2013. Right, December. If there was anything called depression, I had it pro max, right? So it wasn't a thing of, there was nobody that would legitimately come out and said that, oh, they gave us a chance or they gave us anything, right? But somehow, and what I'm about to share with you today are things and practical principles that somehow, I wouldn't say by accident, I would say that for some of you on this call, it is not going to be by vision board, getting it right, goal setting that you would succeed. For some of you on this call, God himself would have to by himself take certain interest in you. Because even if God wants to help you, there is no, where will God start from? All the equations that people would have to even succeed, you don't have it, just like me in that year, right? So I was working in a bakery. I did all my life in the bakery where people would smoke, they would drink, we would work from literally 7 a.m. to like say 10 p.m. baking bread. And it's not all the touche bakeries that right? It's the mud oven bakery that's those who are probably in the ancient days would understand, right? That was where I was working. I did my O level, I did NECO, WAEC all together. I did it 6 times, right? Every attempt that was made to make me get into school failed. Every attempt. I did JAMB twice. I traveled to Ibadan to go and do JAMB. I traveled to, I think it was Aja at that time to go write JAMB, right? I did everything I could to get into the 4 walls of school, but it never worked out. I left secondary school in 2010, but I only got into school. I only got into school in 2018, like 8 years after I left school. So what exactly did I do that got me the result of where I am now? Such that when you compare us by, I'm saying this in whole humility, because things don't happen by accident. You don't engage 2025 with the strategies with which you have engaged 2024 and expect something to be different. There's some things you just have to understand that has to change. Let me tell you, many of us on this call, we are probably growing old, but we are not growing up, right? Growing up is adding numbers. Growing old is adding age. You see, growing old is you say, okay, I'm celebrating my birthday. But growing up is something having to change in the way you think. It is something having to change in the way you assess matters. It is something having to change in the way you deal with every year. So what did I do? One thing that I could remember that I did first, and I'm not coming here to come and motivate you. You see, you start from somewhere. You know, if you're going to be a billionaire, you have to save first. It is when you have the money to save that you now invest. It is when your investments yield results that you now start thinking or start getting close to becoming a billionaire. You have to start from somewhere. So guess what? Where did I start from? I started from first getting a book. I got so tired that I wanted to give up. In fact, somebody looked at me and said, look, young man, I think it will be best for you to go and learn mechanic. And I did learn mechanic. You know, I went to Ilasa to do all sort of shoddy jobs until one day, you see, if it was Ifa that saved me, I would have told you, right? If it was Oshun that saved me, I don't have anything against those guys, right? I would have told you. If it were all of those guys that probably showed me, you know, the path, I would have told you. Many of them could not. Many of them couldn't help me. Many of them couldn't do the thing that I did, right? Couldn't help me from the things that I was going through. But one thing that I knew was so remarkable that happened to me, and I'm sorry I'm bringing that here. I am sorry. See, if there's anyone who have so much strong unease in talking about, you know, and coming to flaunt things, it should be me, right? But I cannot lie to you. Guess what? What happened to me was that I accepted Jesus Christ. I was a Muslim. What happened to me was that I accepted Jesus Christ. It was as if there was massive light that had been waiting for me. The first thing that I did after I accepted was hearing how that people curate vision. People help themselves with vision. People see them, people just from nothing. I saw men like me who were Muslims, and they took a paper and a pen and they wrote their vision down. And they didn't just write it down, because vision without, you know, vision written down without proper plan for execution is still a fantasy. So what I knew that I did was, although I had done O-level 6 times, you see, I had done O-level 6 times. One thing I knew that I did was that I came back to start doing the things that I was doing before that were not working. And somehow they just started working. So first thing that I did first was to set a vision for myself. I gave myself an objective. I said that in 2018, I'm going to get into school. As at 2018, guess what? I was probably 26, if I could remember or recall. I said I was going to get into school. All the people who were cousins, who were people around me, they had already graduated. You know, they knew all the things, you know, and that's what I want to tell someone here. It doesn't matter what it would take you, right? It does not matter what it would take you to pick up your life back, right? It is better for you to sit down there and do nothing. I repeat again, it does not matter what it's going to take you to pick your life back. Do it so that you can start moving. Because guess what? Whether you are 25 today, you will clock 40 one day. You're going to clock 50 one day. You're going to clock 60 one day. Whichever way you swing the pendulum, somehow you are going to clock 40. So the question is, who will you be when you are clocking that 40? So I took a pen and a paper and I identified who I was going to be when I clocked 30. It wasn't 40, because at that time I was 26. So I only had just 4 years to prove that God was graciously good in my life. So I took a pen and a paper and I wrote down everything. One, I must be a graduate. Secondly, I must have married so fulfilled. You know, there's a way you can marry and marriage become a vice to you, right? I had it. That was my own plan. It doesn't have to be yours. And I'm not putting any pressure on you. The second thing that I said was that I must be running a profitable business. I didn't just say I was going to make my first million, because at that time, I'd started exposing myself to tech. I started exposing, while other people will be sleeping, I didn't have any time to sleep. I did not have any time to sleep. So I'm telling you practical things you can begin to do. Other people will sleep. Let's go for party. Every new year, let's do this. My brother, he who does not have luxury of resources does not go and JBC. JBC, that's a Yoruba palace. So in English, it means you don't go into debt when you don't have luxury of resources, right? You should, some of you on this call should have no business working with certain friends. You have no business, because God, through this call, is giving you a lifeline where you can rewrite your own destiny by yourself, and you can begin to start activating those things. So guess what I did? After I wrote those things down, and I said that, of course, how will I run a group of company that is profitable without making my first million? So whilst everybody was speaking English and saying, oh, Lekon is too serious, Lekon is too this, and Lekon is too that, I was not hearing anything they were saying. I was locked into my vision. I was so locked into it that nothing you say matters to me. If you like, say I'm too serious. If you like, say I'm too difficult. If you like, say that's your business. For as long as I am alive, every minute that God gives to me, I am going to maximize it. So guess what? Before the time came, because the vision was meant to be accomplished, I started seeing, this is how vision works. The moment you write it down, you begin to attract the resources that will bring them to pass. The moment you write them down, you begin to attract what will bring them to pass. So I don't care the way you probably would view me now or see me now. In my head, I have not achieved anything. So that was what I did. What was the next thing that I did? I found mentors. See, I'm one person who is going to tell you, right, that in finding mentors, you have to discern them. Go and check the meaning of discernment, right? You have to discern mentors. Mentors are not people you find randomly and do you know what mentorship is? At a superior level of definition, mentorship is superior sometimes, if you're not careful, to fatherhood, because you now have to expose your life to that person. You now have to tell the person what you're currently doing with your life. The person knows you're in and out. The person knows you're left to right. And if you're not careful, I have met mentors in my life where I felt like, look, I should have better planned for this mentor, right? I shouldn't have done this one. I didn't do this one right. So in seeking for mentors, I'm going to tell you two things to look for. You must find mentors that are willing. They don't care. They have nothing to lose if you leave. They are willing to tell you the truth, no matter how it feels. That's one indicator. So it's not like, oh, there's something for them to lose if you're going to leave. They're not benefiting anything from you, right? So that's one, indices you need to look for, right, in searching for a mentor. So I found mentor. The other thing that I'm going to tell you in looking for a mentor, right, is look for a mentor you have earned their access. Most of you, or most of the people that probably might be getting it wrong in mentorship, are people who have not earned access. Guess what, guys? Access is more rewarding than money. Access is more rewarding than anything you can mention. Access. Just one person giving you access, it can be the first billion you would make. How did I make my first 1 million? See, when we call this money, guess what? Do you know that 50K times 20 is 1 million? Meaning if you can offer skill to somebody right now and you charge them 50,000 naira, right? You charge them 50,000 naira and you can offer that same skill to 20 people. That's 1 million naira. So I don't want to hear on this call that there is anyone who is probably giving excuses as to why they cannot do what they did, what they want to do. So that was what I did. The third thing that I did was that I ensured that I serviced those relationships. Till today, most of those people still call me for projects. Till today, most of those people still call me for things, websites and things they want to build. I've left and I've grown and I've evolved. Much of the project that we run now, my hand don't touch them. It's probably my team that will handle them, right? But guess what? They still come to me because I have earned their trust. How do you earn the trust of mentors? On the day C, for instance, I'm going to teach you practical things that, I had to do. There's a budget that I have for all the people, not just mentors, all the people that I know that matter to me. I have them on a spreadsheet and I have a budget for them. I don't know if you know about it. There's a company called Fastest Cake. I think you can find as small as 15,000 naira cake there. You don't know how much it means to people who don't get gifts every day. When you give one gift to somebody who does not get a gift every day, they appreciate it more. And they feel like they owe you something. No, you are not doing that thing you did necessarily because you want to get their favor, even though you want to, right? But the best time to begin to service those relationships is when you do not need them. Do you understand? So you see, these are the things that we did, right? That I did, that is now evolving into who I am now becoming. I am on my journey, right? And I want you to also get on your own journey, right? And that's what I want you to understand. I'm just going to, quickly, run through some of the things that I have for you here. Look, when babies jump out of their mother's womb prematurely, they stay in a bottle till they are fit to run the race of life. You cannot engage 2025 like a baby. Do you understand? You literally need to be prepared. And I have given you a sneak peek, maybe not all, but if you start from the ones that I have given you, I've told you my story. I was a bakery boy. If there was a non-entity of a non-entity, one thing I just want you to understand is that, guess what, guys? People will not be surprised if you fail. The systems of Nigeria has already factored in. You planned your failure into they have your failure in their plan. Let me tell you something. I run a tech business. We have one of our company that is a tech business. We don't depend on one router from MTN. I'm going to mention names here. We don't depend on Glo. We don't depend on Airtel. It is anyone that works because you're already in Nigeria. So what I want you to begin to do, and the questions I want you to ask yourself, is to start from somewhere. What is one thing that you can do? One mistake that I made that I would, for me, beg if I have another chance to probably correct it, was that I learned web design in 2017. I never went back to that course to go and, upgrade my skill until COVID happened in 2020. That was when I started learning it. That was the first time someone, I'm going to mention amount here. That was the first time someone paid me 200K for a website project. That night I did not sleep. Guess what, guys? I've never seen a bundle of 20K in a hole before in my life. And someone paid me 200K in 2020, right? And it was like, if God is going to help you, look, it was like, boom, what did I do? Right? Somebody paid me 200K. Before I could open my eyes and close it, I made 500K from web design. I made 1 million from web design. Before I could understand anything, right? Before I could just understand anything, I started making extra from web design. That's how it works, guys. But mine was web design. If you cannot take web design, there has to be a skill. There has to be something you would put on the table for God to bless, right? So you cannot get into 2025 jumping out of your mother's womb, right, prematurely. You have to literally prepare. So when we say, ask yourself the question, what exactly is the next? There's a document that I had, right? I didn't even talk about that. It's a 20 years life plan, right? It's a 20 years life plan. Even though it's not so clear, it wasn't so clear. Don't worry, we'll be editing it later. But guess what? I did that 20 years life plan. And I can bet you today is why I'm still locked in. Is why you can stay here and be listening to me right now, because I did not live my life joking, right? So you got to prepare. I'm sharing this picture for you guys to see. And nobody must take screenshots. I'm begging you. So don't take screenshots. But I'm just sharing with you for you guys to see, right? Look at me here. Would you think that this guy here, looking pale, looking purposeless, if there's any word like that, right? Looking so hungry and haggard. Do you think that this guy, as at that time, would have anything to want to do with where I am currently, right? But there is nothing you cannot achieve. They do not pay to dream. They do not pay to write vision. Everything you want to become is possible. The question is, can you do the work? It's in doing the work. Guess what? When I started getting to the top, I saw that the top, I now saw the reason why Jesus said that, look, the poor you would always have with you, because the sacrifices of the top, they are things that you would wonder. Whilst you are sleeping during the year, some people are probably sending gifts to their loved ones, to their loved ones, to their loved ones. Do you think that if they are going to get a job or get $1 billion job, right, they will call you who have not done anything at all? So you need to literally check that. But my question, look at this guy and compare him to this guy, right? Compare him to this guy. You see this MacBook, it took me 6 years to be able to buy. I put the MacBook as a plan and as a vision board, right? But guess what? It never worked. I was using one Paco laptop like that, but that was what my finance could carry. That was what my capacity could carry. When I bought this MacBook, I forgot that I had bought the MacBook. Are you going to compare this guy now that you've seen here to this guy here? That's just the question I would ask you. And I can tell you for free, the only thing that changed for me was that I started taking actions on the things that I started learning, right? 2025 cannot be the year where you will do the same thing you did in 2024, right? And then you expect something different. You literally have to be changing something. Guess what? I started from a single room, but today there's nothing that I would probably say I want that I cannot get, and that's the essence of this conversation, that whatever it is you think you're going through now, it is shaping you for the future that you told God you wanted. But question, did you even tell God you wanted any future? So you need to sort of clarify these things in your head before you get into your 2025. 2025 is a good year, it's a great year, but it's not going to be it's going to be another year of stories if you do not prepare for it, right? I hope I've been able to summarize a bit of my life and a bit of the things that I have done that have brought me to this level. And I hope that this probably would inspire you to take action, right? Whatever that action is. Your own action could be calling someone to help. Your own action could be probably taking a course and not sleeping. Your own action could be, it could be anything. Ask yourself what that action is, right? And, let's see at the top. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope it's been rewarding for you.
Oh, wow. This is such an amazing story. He asked me that, can it be real? And I told him, oh yes, please, we want practicality, into these things. And of course, you can see how well he curated, even he had a slide, to present to us. And yes, so I'm going to be doing a screen sharing right now, for our to get to know our to get to know our panelists, just so the kind of questions you would ask them. Yes. So all right, here we go. All right. So first we have Mojibade. If you know her already, she's called the Lady MC. You would see her profile just now. Just having some. But yeah, just as I saw that, please, can anyone, just say what you learned from what you just said? Just tell us something, you can pick out from what you just said that you are holding on to this. Who wants to go, please? Okay. Yes, please go ahead.
You cannot get that billion if you are doing nothing.
Sorry, please, can you say that again? I didn't hear you clearly.
You cannot
So we
get
should go
that
ahead.
billion big if you are doing nothing.
So you have to, do something, transform that that reflection, into action. Yes, please, Ayodele Oluwole, please go ahead.
I'm not Olowole.
Oh,
It's a
Olowole,
real
my
name.
apologies.
Okay. Actually, I didn't know the caption of his presentation. Is it the process of being successful as an entrepreneur? Or what is the caption of the presentation? That's one. There are so many processes of becoming who you want to be. Like the last speaker said, you have to identify the value in you. He identified the value in him, that nothing can stop him to becoming successful. And he went out of his way to do so many things, from the bakery to the mechanic to, to be able to be where he wants to get to. But what we want to know from him is for him to advise us that, yes, that's his own process of becoming who he has become today. How can we also have our own processes to be able to be who we want to be? We want it to be in a scientific way. Yes, he did an analytical way, explaining, because some of these things easier said than done. He said he set his goals and he worked towards the goals. The goals are set. How was he able to achieve those goals? So we need to know so that it will be able to help some of us on how we can set our goals for 2025 and attain the goals. Because sometimes happen accidentally. Did this thing happen accidentally, or it was planned by him, or God is the one that defined his paths? So we need to identify that, because not everybody can be able to go through what he's gone through to be who he is. So please, I need him to do the analysis. I have my own personal experience that I never from my life had an experience. My father made me to go to Federal Ministry of Works, Federal Ministry of Employment, Labor and Productivity. Because of the setting and the activity within the office, I said to myself that I would never work in any ministry and I would never work for anybody. That was as far back as 1980. So, and believing in that, from my university days, I only worked during NYSC, which is very key. The rest is history. It's a long story, which a book can be written on it. Notwithstanding, we want for us to help us, because our major thing is people want success. You said you have to do certain work to raise finance, build on the finance that will take you to another level. You have to be able to say, like my own in those days, I believe that when I was even as an entrepreneur working with a group of friends, whatever I got, I put 50% into the bank. I spent I put 75% in the bank.
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Mr.
So I need to do that for us so that to be able to be meaningful for what he has told us, the story,
okay.
Please.
Mr. Olamilekan, can you please speak to that, sir?
Hey, okay. Ayodele Olowole, right? I hope I'm correct.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Right. So first, I would thank you for your question. And secondly, I would mention that for you, right, I would want to have a data, right? I'm speaking to a large audience, and it is very important I pick on things that people can relate with, right? So while I wait to hear from you on data as to what you want to achieve, I just need one major thing you want to achieve for 2025. But I will tell you one major thing that that was a major. I'll just pick an example, for instance, and I'll tell you how I went with it, right? It was first with starting a business. So in 2018, when I wanted to start.
Sir. Sorry,
Okay.
sir, your video is not on. Do you mind turning it on, sir?
No. Don't
Okay.
don't worry. I'm trying to sort out my background here.
All right, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So when Ayodele, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. So the question, the case study was I wanted to start a business and there was no kobo. Even from what you were saying, I'm trying to be sure if you heard everything I shared. I didn't save any money to start a business. There was no even money to save. How much was I collecting? So there was no money to save, right? So what did I do? First, the only thing I knew I could do, because I needed to register the business, I had a request from a brand that wanted to pay me money. And they said that if the business was not registered, they were not going to pay me that money. Matter of fact, they were not even going to work with me, right? Which is one thing that I would just speak or chip on for everyone on this call, right? If you want to start a business, start right. There are certain businesses that will not work with you if you are still sending them account number of Ayodele Olowole. But getting back to it, what did I do? I had friends that I had practically shown up for on their birthdays, as simple as, I know this is one area that a lot of us feel like we know, but we don't know nothing. And I'm saying that with every level of humility. We don't know. We just feel like on people's birthday, we wish them LLMP. I mean, how do you send somebody LLMP on their birthday and you expect them to remember you, right? LLMP, what does that mean? So what I had done preceding that time was that I had a network of friends. Guess what? I didn't even know at that time that they had up to that money to give me. I had looked down on them so much that I felt like, look, how much does he have to give me? So they were not an option for me, right? They were not an option for me at all. So I didn't even bother asking them for that resources. I needed just 200K to get off, right? But there was a friend that I showed up for. Anytime he's running his birthday, I would just send him happy birthday, and then give him like a cake. Days that I cannot do a cake, right? How much is cake then? Cake was just like 4,000 naira, not the ones they are doing 15K for the smallest size now. So I would send him cake. So I didn't know that I was gaining a space. I wasn't just renting a space in his heart. I was buying a land in his heart. So he was looking at me and then looking for ways he could help. So guess what? I did not ask him for a kobo. It was someone who just spoke around him and said, oh, look, Lekon wants to even start his business. There's a business pitch that he's trying to make, but they say that if he does not send in the proposal with his business name, they are not going to pay him. He said, Lekon didn't tell me about this now. I did not beg him. I did not say, please come and begging is a vice. That's not what you should do. I never begged him for a kobo. The morning before, at that time, Access Bank was still Diamond. The Access Bank merger had not happened with Diamond Bank, so it was Diamond I was using. Before I could wake up, the amount that I needed was 70,000 naira to do business name registration. That was all I needed. By the time I would wake up, he had sent me 200,000 naira. So in my own head, I'm like, I just checked my account. On my account, these zeros I would always see there at that time were 3 zeros. They were not more than 3. All of a sudden, I'm seeing multiple zeros at the back of 2, and I was shocked. So I felt like maybe Diamond Bank made a mistake. So I just investigated, and I saw that it was his name that was there. I called and I said, "Look, Emmanuel, what's up? This money I'm seeing, what's the money for?" He told me, he said the money is majorly for me, that he heard that I wanted to start a business, and he was willing to support. I said, thank you. I truly appreciate you. As a man of integrity that I am becoming, right? I asked him, when would I return the money? He said, it's not a loan. It's a free grant for me to start off my business. So as practical can be is why I'm being real with you now. I did not beg him for a dime. I did not beg him for a kobo. I had only shown up to be a person of value to him, right? And he was willing to unlock his favor for me. I never knew he had up to that money with him. So I think one of the major problem as a feedback that I would have, right, for my own generation is how we look down on ourselves. And we don't understand that in the pocket of many people you are calling friend, brother, baba, chief, is your next income. So I've used that as a case study. Ayodele, I want you to also now give me, if Adora Migba would allow, give me a perfect case study of what you want to achieve in 2025, and I would relate it to what you can do to achieve that. I hope I've been able to answer you.
Unfortunately, I am in a position to even advise you on what is the major thing about we or your generation that are missing out in attaining the goals of achieving what you just said now. You have to add value on people around you. Add value to your family. Add value to you. You added value to that your friend that made him grow your business or give you a startup for your business. Yeah. Adding value is not by begging, going to beg somebody, give me.
That's right.
I want to start business, give me. Don't ever, as an entrepreneur, belittle yourself in front of anybody. Just be focused and add value. You see what will happen in your life. You blossom like a flower. That is my own contribution from what I learned from what you just said. Now, somebody had to make you start, and you have started. So now every other person on this platform now listening to you, they should hold on to themselves. Value added. Value added to themselves is common. It's just a simple thing that you see, they say sweep this floor. And you say, I'm too big, I cannot sweep the floor. You don't know the person that is watching you. You're sweeping that floor, you're adding value to yourself that it is, at this level, this person is cleaning this floor. That means if I give him a mountain, those are the things I need you to. I wanted to do your analysis with statistics. You were descriptive. Yes, you have said what I wanted to hear, without which you won't be who you are today. That 200,000, it was had made you who you are today. And you must be grateful to that person. I hope you're still in touch with him and you're still sowing to others.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ayodele. Thank you for that. I hope the guys on the call will learn. Thank you.
Okay. So any other questions from anybody?
Oh yeah, thank you, sir. So yes, just before we have another speaker in the house. She has been, in since. So please, can you stop sharing so I will share? Oh, great.
Do you want another example from me?
No, sir. No,
okay.
Sir. We're running off time.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, so of course, you can go check the website. There are our speakers, profile are there. You will even get a link to their website and some of their social media platforms. So this is Mr. Olamilekon. And so right now we have Mojibade Soshonya. Yes, she has been in. Hello, the lady MC. Okay, she's I hope. Okay, but just while we get her, let me introduce her. Mojibade Soshonya, she's an event host, moderator, TV presenter, corporate communications specialist, and an influencer. Mojibade Soshonya, famously known as the Lady MC with an MSc, is a seasoned event host and communication expert, nicknamed the banker with a mic. During her banking career, Mojibade seamlessly blends professionalism with charisma, inspiring audiences and empowering individuals to reach their full potential. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Mojibade actively supports social impact initiatives, contribute to projects like Shell Community and Project on Field. With her influence and passion, she connects deeply with audiences and leaves a lasting impact. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome But while she prepared to get in, does anyone have any question for Mr. Lekon? Can we hear me, please?
Can I still ask question?
You've asked quite a lot. Let's see if
No, it's
someone
beneficial to everybody.
let's see if someone else have so yeah, would be fair to others. Anyone? Okay, yes, please go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Mr.
Okay.
Olabimeko,
Hello?
I want to ask, in your process of growth, apart from the windfall of finances to you, I'm sure there would have been obstacles in bigger projects which you have not been able to get finance for. And eventually you got the finance. Please, can you expatiate how you were able to do it? And for those of your customers, how do you collect your fees or your charges? Is it before or after? Do you have any customer that is not paying, or do you have any deficit? And if you have, how do you handle it? Are you there?
Hey, I'm here. I would just prefer to answer. These are very targeted questions that real-time conversations would have to bring on board for you. I mean, but asking the question of how have I been able to get finances for obstacles where I encounter obstacles? The truth about the matter is people are money. Money is people, right? So you need to understand the value in people, right? And unlock the gratitude in their hearts. I've been running business now for well over a decade, and I've not gone to bank to borrow any kobo. Not as a bragging right, but also to let you know that, look, there is a way to run business. If you have people are the investors that you need. They are the one who put their money in the bank, and bank end up borrowing you and slapping you with a lot of interest rates. So what I do is I focus on people. I don't mince word with valuing people. I stretch above and beyond to ensure that the people that I have, I value them. I value them above anything, outside God, right? So it's important that you place a lot of value in people, right? And all of the things that I've shared here, if you listen to them again, you will see one thing you can apply that will attract you your own first investor. So the business that we probably have an issue, right, scaling was our hosting business. We needed somebody to pump some money into it, and the money wasn't forthcoming, right? But if one person who was not forthcoming didn't show up, someone else showed up for us, and we're able to sort of live that. So it's not been rosy, but it's not on this call we would dissect all of the challenges and some of the strategies, not just from me alone, from some of the top leaders in my team, that we then got, some of those people to invest in us. That's one. Secondly is, I can't remember your second question. If you can repeat that again.
Okay, the first one was how do you then your customers that are indebted to you, do you have anyone, or how do you go about your collecting your payments from your customers?
Okay,
is it before,
fantastic question. So
before
okay,
the work is done, or after the work has been done? Is anyone owing? And if there's anyone, how do you go about collecting your debts?
All right, are you done?
Yes, I'm true.
All right, so different businesses comes with different model, right? So you need to find what model is working for your business. For our media company, right, the model we deployed are 3 payments option, right, based on the people that we're working with, right? There is an option A, which is outright payments, right? Outright payment, or 80% upfront, then 20%. For the ones who do outright payment, if it's a website we want to do for them, we'll develop the website, we perfect the website, but until they pay the 20%, we do not deploy the website to their domain. Do you understand? So we do 80 and then they pay 20. Once they pay the 20, we'll now deploy. So until they pay the 20, we don't deploy. There is an option 2, right? They pay 50% first, right? So we break the project into 4 phases. So it's a phased option. We break the project into 4 phases. Phase 1, they pay 50%, right? That 50% gets us off that particular phase. Then phase 2, they pay 25%. It gets us off that particular phase. And then phase 3 is the last stage of it. Until we collect that balance, we also do not deploy. So that's for the media company. The final option is 50-50. But the ones we do 50-50 for are the people that their project is ranging from 1 million and above, right? So the money actually makes sense. It's not something like, oh, small chain that you want to probably break, right? So that when you are breaking into 50%, it's so reasonable. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's for the media company. For our product-based company, for the hosting company we're running, Hostbridge, right? What we do for that, there is no go-com. It's already an automated system. Before you buy a hosting or a domain for your business, you will pay first before you even get onboarded. Do you understand? So, but for the media company, because it's a service-based company, we have some clients, even with our tight team who sort of follow up on receivables, right? We still have some clients who owe you. They say, okay, oh yeah, deploy the website. And most of the people who owe us, they are people who are friends and family. If you launch the missile of fighting them, you'll be losing relationship. So what we do is to be very patient with those people. And we let them know the implication of not deploying their website on time. Or if it's another service that we're offering, maybe like, want to make them go global and, we're running maybe like an SEO package or bundle for them, right? We tell them the implication. And we let them know based on the contract that we have agreed that we are pulling out of the project if they do not respond. But even with that, people will still hold. But we have been able to close the gap of people owing us by just sort of putting those models in place. So different businesses comes with their peculiar models. So you need to ask yourself what your own business model is and what your clients will probably want, what appeals to your client necessarily. So I hope that answers your question.
It did.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Olamilekan. It's been, an amazing time with you. And yes, thank you so much. Yes, now it's high time we're listening from Moji Bade. Aloma, are you ready for us? Yes, I know you're ready. But can you please unmute? All right.
Hi, Adura. Yes. Good evening.
Oh, yes.
Hi, everyone.
Good to have you here. Yeah, thank you for showing up. Yes, Mr. Olamilekan has spoken about businesses, and of course, Mr. Jimitewe talked about quite a lot across board. So we'll be focusing on you with self-development and career development. And yes, the first question that I do have here for you is sorry, just a minute. Yes, what skill sets or what are the things you've been able to maybe intentionally do to be able to get to this level of success? We want it to be very practical. It could be some whatever it is, just tell us.
All right. Thank you, Adura, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on this call. So very quickly, and I think it's going to take about 5 hours if I start to break it down, but I will just try and share a little from where, and then manage the time that we have. If there's anyone on the call who follows me very closely on social media or who's heard about me from any regard, one thing that you would know about me or that you would be very well aware of is that I don't joke with my relationship with God, because I recognize that I am because He is, and there's nothing that I've ever accomplished in life or anything that I have or that I ever hope to be that can be taken out of my relationship with God. So that's my number one secret to success, my relationship with God. Secondly, I am very big on service, right? So when I first started, before I became this brand, I used to be a banker, and I served in banking industry for about 6, 7 years. Now in banking, never did I envisage that I'll be where I am currently. But one of the things that I did and that was very primary for me was service. And I'll explain what I mean by service. Yes, I was earning my primary income from banking, but I made it a point of duty to go beyond my KPI. And now KPI means key performance index. So when in my first year in banking, I worked in credit risk management. Then I also served in, I was then redeployed to product management, then to digital banking, and then private banking before I left the bank. But one thing that I always did, and when I say service, was that I volunteered for things that, made me happy, things that supported my passion, but things that also contributed to the bank's bottom line. So I didn't work in communications primarily, but I've always wanted to be a communications professional. However, when I started out in the bank, they didn't post me to corporate comms. But what I always did was to volunteer to serve on extra projects that corporate communications had. And so because I knew that that was not my primary function, and because I was volunteering for corporate comms, I didn't want my own primary function to suffer. I had to work extra hard. So working extra hard would mean that I would come in early to work, finish my own work for the day, just make sure, I did it, but I also did it excellently, because there's a part of excellence where people can say, oh, this memo has been reviewed by Mojibade. Don't bother checking it. She's done an excellent job. Or, once it's Mojibade that reviews it, everything is correct. So there's that part where I worked diligently at my own primary assignment. Then I go to corporate comms to volunteer because that was where my passion lied. So I think I say this to let you know that you might not currently be serving where your passion is, or you might not have the chance to do it, but are you creating opportunities for yourself to serve in that place? So communications has always been my own passion. From when I always tell people, and I share this story, that I hosted my very first event when I was 9 years old. So I've been hosting events as far back as 9 years old. And it was from speaking up and saying, oh, I can do this. Let me do it. I would host my neighbor's daughter's birthday parties. And one thing that I think had differentiated me even from when I was 9 years old was that I always went the extra mile. So I'm hosting my neighbor's birthday. How am I? I mean, I think back and I'm wondering, you were only 9 years old. How did you think of all of these things, right? I'd always sought out to be an excellent person, to always put the extra in the ordinary, and that makes you extraordinary. And trust me, I'm not even trying to do any aspire to perspire. I'm just telling you that you have to always bring the extra to every ordinary, and that makes you different. And so when I'm hosting my neighbors' parties, I was 9 years old. When I was growing up, at the back of newspapers, right behind, you would find riddles and jokes. So I will cut it out, cram it, and use it to host and engage, guests at those events. And I'm talking, far back as maybe 1999, 1990, 2000, year 2000, right? I would just do something different to make sure the guests had fun. But I was only 9. And so I've been pursuing excellence from a very young age. So even when I got into banking, excellence was not new to me. It wasn't a stranger. It was something that I'd always pursued. I'd always tried to be different, right? So what are you doing differently in your own sphere of, influence, or where you currently find yourself? And although I didn't see myself as as a banker on the long run, whilst I served in banking, I still served excellently, because every part of your story is a piece of the puzzle that adds up eventually to the bigger picture. And so if I handled banking very lackadaisically, the people who refer me now from banking, who say, oh, let her do this event with the president, the people who speak on your behalf, they would say, oh, she was not an excellent person in banking. I don't know if she has changed though, but she was not excellent. They're already staying in your record. And so even though I didn't see myself as doing banking for too long, I eventually stayed 6 years plus. But I made sure that my brand was a reputable one. My brand was one that everybody wanted to work with, even though I was still in the bank and even I didn't want to be a banker. But that was where I found myself. And even the Bible says that Whatsoever your hand finds to do, do it well. And whatsoever you do it heartily as unto the Lord, knowing that of the Lord you shall receive your reward. The Bible even tells us that when you're faithful in the little things, God will set you over bigger things. And yes, again, banking was not my destination, but whilst I was there, I did it with my heart, I did it excellently, and I gave it my all. Yeah. So I think I'll talk about those two, two major contributions, serving, being an excellent person, and three, and always bringing the extra factor to every ordinary situation, so you can be anything on, excuse me, you can be anything on the call. You can be a baker, a fashion designer. You can be anything. Even if you work in a bakery, are you the one that your boss trusts with? If this person counts the loaves of bread, we're sure that not one will not miss. It's in those little things. Even if you're a cleaner, are you an excellent cleaner that people will say, I can recommend her to go and clean, the president's office. And from there, somebody will find you and say, no, you can do better than this. You can do something else. In whatsoever your hand finds to do right now, how exactly are you handling it?
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I believe someone got something from that. Yeah, the last question I will ask you before we take one question from the attendees is in going into the new year, what are the things you either consciously or unconsciously kind of put together in your mind, or it could even be physically? Yeah.
So it's interesting that you asked that question, because most of today I sat with my best friend. We shut out our phones and we were planning for the new year. We're writing down our goals in every area of life, down to the countries we want to travel to next year, down to the food, the kinds of food we want to eat, our exercise, our routine, lifestyle. Of course, I'm talking about spiritual life, the amount we want to make next year individually. We're writing down everything. And that is exactly how you should step into the next year. I know that every time the year is coming to an end, there's always this, the new year, the new year, the new year. But you have to make plans for the new year. You can't afford to enter the new year very carelessly. You can't afford to enter the new year without making plans. You must make plans as you're going into a new year. Yes, we say, new year, my new year starts from today. Any day you choose to start your new year is your new year. So even if you're saying that, okay, you know what, 2025 already started for me, perfect. But what exactly are you going to do differently? Are you writing down your goals? When you write things down, you can always go back to it and say, no, I'm not achieving this yet. I must do this. But you must set realistic goals. You must set things that would push you, things that are measurable, they must be smart. So they must be specific, they must be measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Give yourself timelines and say, I want to achieve this by end of first quarter. I want to have read this number of books by second quarter. I did read a lot of books this year. I was so busy, but I've put on my goal sheet that I must read a lot of books. I've put it there. I must read one book per every 3 weeks next year, minimum, at the minimum. That's apart from other things, because you need to keep refreshing your memory. You need to keep refreshing your mind and renewing your mind. There are people who have, poured out their wisdom, experiences and, years of knowledge into books. Buy those books and read them. Read them, and not just read them in passing. Read them and digest those books. I'm going to do better next year in reading books, in being accountable to my friends, in being available to my friends, beg your pardon. So I'm writing down things I'm going to do differently. So as we're stepping into the new year, it's important for you to set goals, whether you call them New Year resolutions, whether you call them goals, anything you want to call them. Write out the things you want to do differently next year. Write out the things that you want to see manifest next year. Our minds are so powerful, and pen and paper is actually so powerful. So you can write it on your phone, you can get a journal, any way you want to write it, and be sure that you're seeing these things physically, so that you can see the way the world works. There's something called the law of attraction. And so when you write out these things, you don't even realize when God starts to answer them. You're writing them out in faith. And so even your language is important. Forget what the economy is saying. You cannot see this year. I made more money than I made, in fact, times maybe times 2 what I made last year, or maybe, what am I saying? Maybe times 2.5, because I'm not going to keep joining the world to be saying, oh, the economy is bad. Are we unaware that the economy is a bit funny right now? No, we're not unaware. But I'm not going to join the bandwagon and start saying, oh, the economy is really bad. It's bad for whoever it's bad for. It's not bad for me. I am thriving regardless of what the economy is saying. I am thriving. And so you have to enter the new year with a positive mindset. And no, I'm not telling you to not work hard. You will work hard, but you must also ensure that what you're saying and what you are writing are in alignment. So you cannot write down that, oh, in this new year, I will make this amount of money. In this new year, my business will thrive. And then when your friends are gisting, they're the ones, saying with them that, the economy is bad. This tipping. I'm not in tipping economy with anybody that is saying I'm not in tipping economy. I am flourishing. I'm thriving. My business is a success. I'm confessing positively every single thing I want to see in the new year. So please, whatsoever you do not enter the new year carelessly. Don't join the bandwagon of people that are confessing negatively about the economy. Yes, we can see the numbers. Yes, we can see the statistics, but we have a greater power who is able to make all things work together for your good. And so whatever, it doesn't matter what 2024 has been for you, whether you had a good year or a not so good year. As you're approaching this new year, 2025, make sure you are approaching with a renewed positive mindset. Make sure you write down your goals, your aspirations, your new year resolutions, every single thing you want to do differently, that you want to achieve or accomplish, that you want to see in the new year. Write it down and start to confess positively about all of those things, dreams, and aspirations that you have written down.
Oh, thank you so much, Mojibade, for that. Just so we'll just take one question. So, who is ready to go? Just be in 2 minutes. In less than 5 minutes, we should close up this submit. So yes, anyone yet? Any question about career at all that you would like to ask her? Going, and going. So yes, thank you so much, Mojibade. It's really nice having you. So final word, right? Could you please invite someone, for to join us for the next what's it called? For the next summit. So yeah.
Okay, so I've been on the call for well over an hour because I also listened to Jimmy Tewe's session and it was absolutely incredible. So what I would say is, I mean, if you've gotten this level of knowledge and impact this year, you definitely know that the speakers next year will bring on their A star game. So don't miss it. If once Adura says we have a summit, you better be the first to log on because you know that everybody's coming on with nuggets that would impact your life positively. So this is my official invitation to you, asking you to be, a part of the next summit. Once you see the invitation, and not just be a part of it, send the invite to your friends. Let everybody in your circle benefit from all the good things happening here. You're
yeah.
muted, Adura.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mojibade, for joining in. I mean, I'm personally so glad, having you, and I believe you've impacted, all
Adura,
others.
please, can I see ask question?
The
last one.
Okay, just in 30 seconds, please, sir.
It's pleasure talking to you, and your narrative was fantastic. It seems you're inborn with the talent to be a presenter, and you have done that from infancy. We, at this moment, would like you to tell us whether you have any development. We are talking about career paths for some of us on this platform who wants to be like you. Is there any career paths that they can follow? Or did you go through any training, or you're just naturally gifted because you're a banker, being a presenter and leaving banking into that field? Please assist us so that I can help some of us who wants to get a career in this field of endeavor.
All right, thank you. So I am a self trained and self-taught public speaker. However, in the process of evolving, because you must evolve, there's nobody who does not evolve. If you don't evolve, then you're going to go extinct. In the process of evolving, I'm learning from other people. I'm listening. So if you check, when you come to my house, I'm watching CNN. I'm seeing how they present. I'm seeing things to do that or not to do. I'm like, oh no, that's not appropriate. You're seeing how international best practices are being operated. And so I'm learning from them. I have a mentor that I learned from. He's IK Osakiodu, that's my mentor. And I'm learning very closely from him. However, what I would say to budding public speakers or presenters is that you have to, whilst you're waiting for someone to handhold you, because it's not every time you will find someone, and I'm being honest, sometimes you might be lucky enough to find someone who handholds you and says, you know what, I'm going to teach you and guide you through this path. However, you might not immediately find someone or might not even find anybody. Learn from people from afar. And so I follow what are the people you're following on social media. I follow lots of international compares, international presenters who are, across different continents. I'm watching their style. I'm watching how they handle different scenarios, right? And so that helps me to better my game, because trends are always evolving. So you're learning new trends. You're seeing how things are operating in other countries. And so I do that. I make sure to learn one word a day. I mean, I don't think I was very consistent last year, but I would learn at least 1, 2 new words every day to add to my vocabulary so that I'm able to use them and use them intelligently. Not only do I learn these words, I also learn their pronunciation so that, see, I work with a lot of high profile clients. I host events for, presidents and governors. You can't afford to misrepresent yourself. You can't afford to not come correct. And so in that, whilst I'm waiting for a mentor, my mentor is also equally busy, right? While I'm waiting for a mentor to guide me, I'm training myself. I'm teaching myself. I set a camera. I watch my videos. I'm like, no, don't do that. Then I do another video. Over time, of course, you get better, you keep improving, you're watching other people, you're learning, you're reading, you're spreading your tentacles, you're watching international shows to see how they navigate different scenarios and different cases. And until you're able to find a mentor, and if in the case that you don't even find any mentor, you have to be your biggest cheerleader and you have to keep rooting for yourself. I'm always looking for avenues to develop myself. So there's a part where you should get a mentor. But if you're not able to get one, your life has not ended. You be your own mentor and be your competition. Because, say, you know what, I have to be better than I was yesterday. So learn by yourself. Don't wait by the pool and say, oh, no, I have no man. You be the man and help yourself. Train yourself. Like I said, I'm self-trained. I've had a passion for it, so I can say it's easier. But I also watch people. I watch people who are doing the same thing I'm doing outside the country, within the country, across continents, and I'm gathering knowledge, experience, and skill from all of them, but still making it as authentic to me as possible. So I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm being authentic, but I'm learning from other people across international best practices.
Excellent. Okay.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yes, everyone. Here is where we draw the curtain for tonight. I have posted a link in the chat group. With the link, you would have everything, for the conference, from creating your personalized invite